Okay. There we go. Is that mic on? Can you hear me? Anybody? Huh? If anybody at home doesn't understand, I'm still setting up, but I'll do the Tom's Guitar Show theme in just a minute. I'm on TV now, you see. I'm talking to the camera operator here. But soon, all right, there's that mic. All right. All right, this, I don't need this anymore. I'm almost done. Okay. That's that. Let's see if I can bring this up a bit. Okay. And then got that. Seriously, I'm almost set up. Of course, I haven't got the guitar out yet, so let's see what we can do here. Here's a guitar. Can't have a guitar show without a guitar. All right. Here we go. Yes. And then this case over here. Got to get myself set up here. I'm losing my nose here at the. Okay. So I think if I plug this in here, push this button here, turn that to about there, and then see what else happens now. Ah! It works. It's kind of loud though, isn't it? Turn it down a couple of notches. How's that? Huh? Hello, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with the guitar. And they call me on the phone. They ask me these questions like, hey man, what's your show about? Say, what's about guitars, guitar playing, guitar players, and all things Guitar-istic. Sorry, I'm not quite set up yet. I pretty much should have set up. I'm going to do a little housekeeping here. But anyway, so here's the deal. If you want to call me on the phone, ask me a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you. If you want to talk about, how to play the guitar. We'll talk about a related topic like the guitarrón, the lute, oud, vihuela, the cítara, citern, chitoles, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, accordions, ocarinas, bajos, sextos, tiples, cavaquinhos. Anything. Anything with the strings on it's fine with me. You want to talk about pipe organs, piccolos, clarinets, clavinets, clavinovas, anything musical is fine. You want to talk about politics, world events, your own personality problems, that's fine too, but keep it clean. This is a family program. Anyway, so here I am. I'm going to move these mic stands. Hang on, everybody. It's spring break. Nobody's watching anyway, right? That's what I tell myself. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. Kind of green around here, but so I'm playing this guitar these days. I'm trying to figure out how to hold it better, and one thing I do is I rather than using a strap, I'm using stacking up 3 footstools and holding it like a classical guitar, because I have these issues with my. Well, I play a lot. I play a lot of guitar, and if you're not careful about how you treat your wrist and your thumb and stuff, you can actually injure yourself. There's people writing dissertations on players' injuries. But sorry, we have a limited crew, which is part of the problem. Doug isn't here, and he's our usual busy guy. He does all the stuff. He sets up. I was late. Because it's spring break, and to be quite prosaic about it, my son had hair down to over his eyes, so I had to get him to the barber shop. And the only time I could get him to the barber shop was like 4 o'clock, and there was a line. So, and then one thing led to another, and I was late. Skopinski's not here, the usual director, and so we're kind of like have a skeleton crew, and people are helping out. And so I guess I'm going to sit here and play play a little guitar music. Hang on, I'm going to fool around with this amp here just for a second. Even more. Okay, so we have. That's nice. So I'm trying out the new guitar. I'm trying out an amp and pedal configuration I've never used before. I have the Holiest Grail Electro-Harmonix reverb, and then I have the my old loop station. And I'm using the Holiest Grail reverb to plug into my little tube amp, trying to get the sound I really want. And then the guitar itself has all kinds of things you can do. For instance, it has a coil tap. So I have these double coil humbucker pickups, and I can play it like this, or I could split the coil. Wow, that's wild. Hang on. There we go. Try this. Phil.
Caller says that you had said that nobody's watching.
Oh.
But he says that he's watching.
Oh.
So you better not goof off.
All right. So there's somebody watching? Okay. actually, spring break in a university town like this, because this town is, it's a company town. The big thing, here's university. We have some industry, of course, but and there's ACT and Pearson, and then, of course, there's Procter & Gamble and some other factories on the, like the southeast side of town. But the big business in this town is the university and the hospitals and so forth. And a whole lot of people have just left town. This is a time when you can find a parking place. But this is also the time when all the townies, because I'm what they call a townie, and you hear about this rancor between the townies and the college people. See, because I'm in Iowa City for the long haul. I've been here. I'm actually not from here originally. I didn't move to Iowa City till I was about two years old, and I've left, of course, but I've come back. And I went to Hoover School, Southeast Junior High, and City High. So I'm a townie. That means people like me can come out of the woodwork. We can go downtown. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was going to play this guitar. It's a nice little guitar, really thin. See, like it's really thin. Right? It's really just like skinny little thing, but heavy. So anyway, I've been doing these shows for a long time now, and I'm not exactly sure when. I think it started in 1994. Of course, the original Tom's Guitar Show was in the summer of 1990, so that was the first 6 episodes were made in that period, from the summer and early fall of 1990. And but anyway, so it's kind of an old show. So I've done all these different things, and I used to try to bring a different guitar every week, and that didn't always, it's not always possible, because, I mean, how many guitars can you have? I have quite a few, but I don't have enough, to bring, I mean, because I've done like at least 800 shows by now. So 800 Tom's Guitar shows, I don't have that many guitars. So I keep, bring the same guitars, and there have been times I go through a period where I just bring the same guitar every week and everything. But one thing that's fun about reminiscing, and as I say, this is the time of year when all the college kids are out of town. They're all, they're getting they're getting in trouble in Mexico and Florida and stuff. They're on the beach getting sunburns, which can lead to a very nasty melanoma, and you shouldn't really sun yourself that much. But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. But the thing is that in this looper that I've had for more than a dozen years. I'm not exactly sure how long I've had the this looper that I'm using. It's the one I have at home that I keep plugged in just to do stuff with. But the interesting thing is about it is that 12 years ago or so, I had a house gig every Sunday at the Amana Bar and Restaurant, and I know that one thing I remember is that I was playing my jazz guitar, and I had switched to that jazz guitar from a previous guitar I was playing, and that was in September 11th, 2001, which was a fateful date in a lot of people's minds. And so in the case, I have these it's like American flag art that I had was flying from my headstock for a short while. So I know I had the gig for a while then. And anyway, so I was using this looper, and I have actually the looper can save backing tracks. So I have some backing tracks that I'm about to explore right now for the fun of it from a dozen years ago or so. And so anyway, hang on. I'm going to descend here and twiddle some knobs. Here's one. That's me like 12 years ago. A phone call? Yeah. Hello, you're on Tom's Guitar Show.
Yeah, hi, Tom.
Hey.
You don't think you have anybody watching, huh?
Well, I got one person watching anyway, I guess.
Yeah, I want to make sure you knew that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's the problem with people like the late night disc jockeys and stuff. They don't know if anybody's out there, and they're talking to an empty microphone. But we got Phil back there. Phil's directing the show again for the first time in a while. How long has it been since you've been directing the show? It's been a while since you've directed, isn't it, Phil?
I was wondering, do you run into a lot of fans that say we watch all the time or off and on, but we never call in because,
Well, yeah, I do actually. I do run into people who say they watch the show. My feeling is a lot of people like to channel surf back and forth. And they spend 2 seconds saying, "Oh, it's the guitar guy from TV," and then they, keep switching. But yeah, I actually have I had people come up to me and tell me what I was talking about 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember what it was or what I was. So what was that one you were playing? I said, "Heck, I don't know."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do. I mean,
well, I have a tendency. I used to do theater a little bit. Did some community theater, high school theater. So, having an audience of any kind, is sort of special.
Well, I think it's
And
important, actually. If you just play, music for yourself in your own room alone, it doesn't. It's not the same as playing it, like getting it out there for other people. And I encourage people, like the people who take lessons from me, to actually do something, like come on my show or something, or go play someplace, because it's like completes a circle. And especially if you're an actor, I mean, how do you like act alone? I mean,
No, well, you can rehearse alone.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. But, even in high school, I remember as soon as the first play I got was, I got the lead in the first play I ever tried out for, as a senior. And I thought, I'm going to do theater. I'm finally going to do this thing, get involved.
What was the play?
I'm not sure you're familiar with it. JB. It was kind of a modern adaptation of the story of Job. It's done a lot by high school people. Written by Archibald MacLeish, who was FDR's Librarian of Congress.
I think I might have actually heard about that, or knew about that slightly.
Yeah, and I had the Satan role.
Oh, okay.
So I got to play Satan.
That's my signal.
And it
Good
was
for you.
luscious. Yeah, it was wonderful. And suddenly it was, here I am commanding an audience and being as evil as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So
God doesn't come off looking too good in that story either, but that's another story.
I did Shakespeare in the Park in Cedar Rapids a long time ago, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Played over on King of the Fairies.
Oh, good. I like that one.
Yeah, so, I'm not very shy about calling in because it's kind of like me performing too, and I don't like to have that when you're the performer. I'm the audience, you're the performer.
Right. Well, yeah. The thing is, this is participatory. Excuse me. And this is one thing about Tom's Guitar Show. It's supposed to qualify as community programming, in that people from the community are invited to participate. Like one could come into the studio, and during the.
Well, I think you should call more. I think you should tell some of your fans to call in more.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Well, I think I would like it if people would call in more. I think that'd be a good idea. I think that'd be useful, and it makes it more interesting. I like to. I perform in different capacities other than here, of course, and I used to get a lot more calls than I do now. I think it's sort of gone out of fashion.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, in the old days, I got like 17 calls. It was not an unusual number. Yeah, the phone rang all the time. Some of them were, of course, off color, because I think it was in the 90s. It was popular to slip an obscenity in, and that seems to have that's been a long time since that's happened. The crank calls, but we had a lot of other people who would ask questions, and people actually. It's kind of funny. Some young fellow would call in for dating advice because he really thought he liked some young woman, but he was unsure about getting involved and so forth. And the funniest thing is he was asking dating advice from me, and of course Phil. And I don't know. My advice would be.
I get this pit in my stomach when I hear you say stuff like that. Like nobody's watching anyway.
Yeah.
And and nobody calls, and like, why is this guy putting out this stuff, this culture, with if nobody responds? It makes me sad.
Well, people do. I think people do watch it, and they ask me. They ask me questions about it. They do. People watch and they don't call anymore so much, and that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of it's the community. We're kind of understaffed. We have a new camera operator today, and we had a new one last week too. It's not here this week, but we have people come and go, and they keep things going here at the TV station. I have thought about trying to do a different sort of program with, like a live stage show where I do things. I have my Tom's Guitar Show special every month, and I'm trying to explore that.
Well, let me tell you something. You had the electric bass cellist,
That's right.
right?
Uh-huh.
And he was on, and you said, well, he's going to be playing upstairs, and everything worked out right, and I was ready to go, so I just went down and listened to him. I climbed upstairs, and listened to him. It was a good show. He was real talent. Yeah.
He seemed like he was good. I couldn't go. I had other responsibilities, unfortunately, but it was, I was glad to do him that, at least I got one extra audience member for him.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
I don't really mind. I think about doing things differently, and my monthly coffee house special that I do is just is an experiment, and I'm trying to work into something else too. But this is a lot of this shows about the community, and if I used to get like too many calls, and I didn't have a chance to finish any to play the songs I wanted to play, and now I don't get very many, and it's all good with me. I'm not worried about being totally washed up. But some people, as I say, people do watch the show. People do, they know of me and what I'm doing. And,
well, what I try to do, I guess, when I call is make some kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people just don't feel comfortable doing that. And I think maybe because I was in theater and stuff and have had audiences myself, that I'm not shy about it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's interesting that you were in theater. I did some theater myself, and I think it's very useful for people to do, and it also helps you to know how to behave in certain contexts. I worked for the theater department for a little while, being a musician, and I ended up getting into. I was in a play that was actually professionally produced, and we did it in New York and in California, and but it was written here at the Playwrights Workshop at the Maybe Theater. But also during that period, I was forced into doing stage readings of plays. Because, see, what it was, I was playing the guitar for the dinner theater that they had during the festival in the summer rep in the summer. And so I played the guitar for the dinner theater thing, the dinner, and then they would go into the theater, and I would go home and teach lessons.
Sure.
But
well, my point, I guess, is you should encourage your fans and your watchers, your audience, to just call in and talk and feel conversational.
Yeah.
And, kind of like you say, well, if you want to talk about politics, yeah, well, I'll talk to you. I'll be here for you, it's a family show. It's cool. So let me ask you, what's your wife feel about Republican shit lately? Oops. Republican stuff lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think.
Because I'm not married, and I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I've seen all this stuff go on for 3 weeks now.
Right.
Finally culminating in Limbaugh's rant, and you know what that was, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think my wife tunes it out and doesn't pay much attention to it. I think I have talked to people. One guy told me that nobody even cared about reproductive rights until the Democrats brought it up, which is because he's listening to right-wing radio. But
It's all their fault.
it's all the Democrats' fault that the Republicans feel this way. But yeah, I mean, I think that over at my house we're basically in favor of women's rights, and I don't think I would get in trouble for mentioning Rush Limbaugh at home.
Yeah.
So it's not
Well,
it's not a
did you hear
pleasant.
that the Senate put up a bill, and it said that any common employer should not be required to contribute to an insurance plan if he had a religious or moral objection
Right.
to any of the treatments. Okay, because I want to take this to the extreme because I have not seen anybody do it yet. They talked about vaccinations. Well, I'm against vaccinations, so I won't contribute to that plan.
Right.
All right, because it's not, even though it's not religious, it could be moral.
Yeah.
Or if you take, like Tom Cruise, Scientology,
Mm-hmm.
who think that psychiatry is not a legitimate science or treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, so I'm not going to contribute to any plan that covers, psychiatric medications.
Right.
So, okay, it gets really screwy. What if he was a Christian Scientist?
That was the one I was thinking of next. Yeah, you go read.
Yeah.
You don't go to a doctor at all. Just read about it.
Don't go to a doctor at all. I have a moral objection to treatment by doctors.
Right.
So therefore, and that was actually how the bill, it was a rider to a highway bill,
Mm-hmm.
but that was actually how it was worded. Not just religious, but religious or moral objection.
Or moral objection, it says.
Yeah, vaccinations. If I'm a Christian Scientist, I don't think anybody should go to a doctor.
Yeah.
So therefore, I run a Burger King, and I'm exempt. Everybody would be Christian Scientists all of a sudden,
Right.
right? I mean,
Well, only the boss has to be a Christian Scientist, but
yeah, your boss would have to be.
yeah.
But back in the '70s, I met a guy who was applying to a mail order house to become a reverend of his own church.
Mm-hmm.
So he could possibly not pay any taxes because he was a church.
Right.
So anyway, you said talk about politics if you want. Keep it clean.
It's a family show. Yeah. Well, no, it's I think it's important. The reason I was late setting up the show was I take my son to the barber shop, and so we were at the barber shop, and they had CNN on, which is some people think is a liberal, but I think it's Fox Light.
CNN's very middle of the road. Yeah.
Well, it's got it's pretty conservative, I would think. But anyway, if that's what you call conservative. But anyway, they were having election results and the caucus and primary results with Wolf Blitzer, and it was just in southern states, of course, and they said that the Democrats were basically in single digits, minority as far as the electorate was concerned. And I was thinking, well, just amazing how, the thing with Rush Limbaugh and that whole thing is that the people are misinformed, and maybe vulnerable people are misinformed.
And they vote against their own interests.
And they vote against their own interests.
Which you've said before, yeah.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. It really does. These people are like, I'm trying to figure out, and I can't.
Well, one thing I saw that was very interesting was they were talking about different states and the average IQ. And Connecticut came in on top with 113. Iowa is 99, so we're one below the average. But like Mississippi and Alabama are like 84 for the average IQ. And I don't know how they compile this or what their data sources are. Like Minnesota's like 100 or 101, and we're 99 or something like that. Wisconsin's also 99.
Okay. I'll tie this up and let you go, but yeah, now you made me think. About 82, I saw Timothy Leary give a lecture down at the Union, and one of the points he made was, if you're trying to figure out everything, now realize, accept the normal curve, and it says the average IQ is 100, or the median, or the median IQ is 100, and that's 20 above moron.
Right.
Yeah, I just have a real difficult time. I don't think I'm any kind of genius or anything, but I really have a difficult time understanding what comes through my television. You know,
Yeah.
Why do they think what's going on? You know, it's frustrating.
Well, I see things, and this is part of the media literacy thing, you know, that we do here at the TV station, is that I hear these things and I see these things, and I don't understand how anybody could believe them. And I think there are some clever people who are talking to the lizard brain of other people and basically, you know,
There you go.
dumbing them down and making. I hear these people with emotional. I hear these conversations with this guy who has these emotional reactions. He was dead set against Obamacare, as he calls it, and you know, healthcare reform.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, hey man, you're about, you know, you're about like 1 year away from Medicare yourself, and I don't know about, you know, my premiums are like keep going up and up and up, and you know, I mean, it's like a quarter of my income goes to healthcare insurance because I'm, you know, self-employed.
Sure.
And it keeps going up, and then of course if you get older, it would go even higher if it weren't for Medicare. And why would, you know, this guy, you know, respond to these things? And because he's been, you know, propagandized. I mean, I think he's a fan of Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
He listens to Sean Hannity on the radio, and he's telling him all this terrible stuff about
Yeah.
death panels, which is, you know, was not in the bill.
Yeah.
And he believed it. And I don't think he's, you know, he's not stupid. It's just that he's easily, you know, affected by this sort of rhetoric, and he doesn't know that they're making a monkey of him. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my place to mention things to people and say, well, you know, they saw you coming, but you know, and I don't pretend to know.
I try to put it in those terms and think about propaganda and people that work all day and don't pay attention and don't, you know, just how do these political ads influence people so much? Wait a minute. Don't you read a magazine every now and then?
Well.
It's an election year, and it's hard to fathom what's going on.
Well, it's like when I hear this stuff, I'm offended because I feel like they're insulting my intelligence or something like that, and it offends me to say. So why were you saying this stuff? You know, why? How would anybody let you get away with it? But then I hear other people, you know, repeat this stuff, and I thought, well, how is that possible that you didn't realize the same thing I did? And you know, I don't pretend to know the truth, but I know when somebody's just, you know, I know propaganda, and I mean, I knew something about the Soviet propaganda in the old days, and then the Nazi propaganda.
Or the Nazis.
Yeah. Well, my brother has a PhD in that kind of stuff, actually, and my main drinking buddy, my
really?
little brother, he actually lives in Germany, and he's an expert on 20th century German history. His specialty was the East Germany, trying to find an identity for itself. That's what his dissertation was about. But you know, he's basically my brother's like a history professor who no longer has a job teaching history, but you know, and he lives in Berlin, and so he knows. He used to come back every summer.
Look how dangerous that can be.
Yeah,
That's what I keep thinking.
Right.
Wow, look how dangerous that can be.
Right.
Mind control or propaganda and fool, you know, and watch them walk off the cliff.
Right.
So yeah, it's goofy.
But they're going to take a lot of us with them. So, and
yeah. Okay, how about some Bob Dylan? Thanks for talking to me.
Well, good luck there. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bob Dylan, you know, there's like So anyway, I've got these old loops here. I'm gonna go down and look for another one. Hang on. There's a different one. I wonder what this one sounds like. That's kind of fun. I want to see what's next. Nothing. Here's another one. I wonder what this is. Well, that's kind of fun. Let's see what else I have in here. I'm just going through my old loops. They're like 12 years old, maybe something like that. There's not. There's one. Let's see. That's loud, too. Wow. That's very interesting. I made that up. I made that up maybe 12 years ago. I have no idea what I was thinking, but it's kind of cool. Maybe I'll take it home and write it out or something. Anyway, where was I? I was just playing regular loops. The other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to take this effect off, my Holy Grail, turn that off, and see what it sounds like just through the amp with this effects. And it sounds like this. It's kind of nice, actually. Well, turn it down a little bit. Now, in 2 weeks, it's March 27th, I'm going to do my show up at the coffee house. I'm going to do it with a full string band. Now I'm just noodling around. I'm grooving on this guitar. I brought this guitar on the show last week. I was trying it out. I've committed to it. I'm paying for it. I'm paying it off. It's a little different. So anyway, I want to commend Phil for doing a really good job as a director. He generally works as a supernumerary. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But congratulations, Phil. You still got it. Good for you. Like the old days.